first question, Ms. Basri. How useful was the content of this workshop to you and your work in your country?
I think it was very useful in terms of that it organized all the issues around adaptation in terms of what is adaptation and how we should approach it from scientific as well as a practical measure way. And how the economics can, which answers the economics can provide as well as which it cannot provide. So also because we all have some certain assumptions and expectations, so it's useful to tell us which we should expect from economics and which we should not expect from economics to answer.
And the second question, what kind of training would you like the program to provide?
I think the training should provide, for the first important question is who should be involved in the training. So for our case, we think it's people who are involved in adaptation, not only environmental ministry, but also those line ministries, for example, agriculture and water and economic development. Those people who are involved in the planning process of those measures and projects should be involved. And what kind of training? I think we first need economic analysis in a macro level, which to provide this broader objective for adaptation, big framework. So we need economic analysis both in the macro level as well as the micro level. Once we set the goal of adaptation or this broader framework, we need to analyze these different options and to choose the projects or measures. So we will need both micro level economic analysis training and also macro level for policy formulation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Actually, in Sri Lanka at the moment, we are preparing a national adaptation action plan for climate change. So therefore, this workshop was very much helpful for me to formulate our national action plan on climate change, because this program provided the cost-benefit analysis of climate, because it is so helpful for adaptation. And also at the moment we are conducting some vulnerable assessments, and also the most important thing of this workshop was the information they provided, because the beginning of first day and the second day half we got sufficient information, latest information on climate change. This is very much helpful for us to formulate our national adaptation action plan. It is in the future or in future programs, I think. Yeah, this program, it is so helpful for the building capacity of officers, especially in environment and economics or finance ministry, because in the formulation of projects at the beginning, in the formulation stage or the project planning, we need capacity buildings and awareness on climate change, as well as economics of climate change. So therefore, this program should focus more in technical aspects, as well as not only in the planning stage, but for the implementation also. We need capacity buildings and trainings and awareness for especially officers who work in the field level. Extension, especially in terms of agriculture, agriculture extension officers should know how the climate change impacts are, how the farmers should adapt. And also, I believe that even farmers also should be aware and build the capacity of farmers to adapt the drought and floods in terms of climate change extreme events. Thank you.
Well, you see, Cambodia is the least developed country, and we depend very much on agriculture, on water availability, on weather. and the need for adaptation is huge, while we have very scarce resources and many competing priorities, development priorities. So we really need to know, what is the cost of adaptation and what is the cost of no actions. So in this regard, I think the training is very useful, and the content of the training is very useful for us to understand more about the economic of adaptation. How do we calculate, how do we price the adaptation action and or different options, so that we can inform policymakers, we can inform budget people, we can inform planners about the costs and benefits of adaptation to climate change. Well, I think participating countries are very different. From country with a very different economic development, different socio-economy, different human resources, technical capacity, institutional capacity. So we really want to have program designed in a way that tailor the need of country, that meet the specific need of the countries. So we want more detailed training on tool, on methodologies, how to do the cost and benefits of adaptation measures at the project level, at the program or sector level.
Ms. Shurufa, how useful was the content of the workshop to you and to the work in your country?
Okay, I work in the Ministry of Finance and at the External Resources Management Division, and basically my work is with aid coordination and I work with donors. So the content was very useful in the sense that I'm not really a technical person, so I don't really know how much climate change is impacting and the real need for investment in adaptation. So the content was really an eye-opener, and now I have a better understanding. And because my work allows me to be involved in projects in the design stages, in the implementation and steering committees, now I think I would have a better understanding, and I can better put input into the project design phase on this aspect, on the climate change aspect.
And what kind of training would you like the program to provide?
I think for the Maldives, we mostly need capacity building in the sense of the economic analysis tools that were discussed during the sessions. I think it's very important that the staff who are actually doing the budgeting and the planning process should be involved, and they should get the training on how to do the analysis, the cost-benefit analysis, because I don't think that is very much addressed in the project planning or budgeting phase. But I also think we need to address the issue of the knowledge and information gap that we have, especially at the higher levels of the senior level decision makers, because it's really not addressed during the budgeting process where decisions are made. So I think that's the area where this training should be focused.
How useful was the content to you and your work in your country?
Yes, I think some of the information is useful for my work. Just give me a basic information about the prediction of the impact, the theory that we have been experiencing in Indonesia. Is, for example, just today's information presentation about sea level rise and the extreme event that we facing, how we assess in Indonesia condition. For example, in Indonesia, based on our assessment modeling, that the sea level rise is predicted 0.5 up to 0.7 millimeter per year. How we can use this prediction for the next future condition. So this is my implement in the content of the presentation or the workshop in this workshop.
And what kind of training would you like the program to provide?
Well, the kind of training that we need, I think it will be different for each level of decision making process. For example, in Indonesia, there are ministries that talk about policy or program level. They may need analysis or tools for them to help to assess the budget allocation, program allocation between sectors, cross-sectorals, and connection between those sectors. I mean, there may be a different kind of tools with what we have seen now is mostly on benefit cost analysis, which is more on the project level. That will be different, will target different kind of ministry, maybe line ministry or the local government that talk more about the project level. So different kind of program of training will be different for different stakeholders.
Thank you. How useful was the content to you and your work in your country?
Oh, I think it is really excellent. Excellent in the sense that the Ministry of Climate Change in Pakistan has been created only recently. So we have come up, the cabinet has approved the National Climate Change Policy, and the adaptation is the serious most issue in Pakistan. We lost 20 million people dislocated from their houses in 2010, and then we had a flood in 2011, 2012. So consecutive from 3 years we are bearing a big blow to this, and this is dislocating our people, and economy is being seriously impacted. So adaptation is the serious most issue for Pakistan. So I believe that this kind of training will enable us and other countries to really address their hardcore challenge that they are facing now. So adaptation is the biggest challenge and problem for particularly the developing countries and the South Asian countries. So we feel that this is a very timely design initiative, and this will lead to great service to the countries, including Pakistan.
And what kind of training would you like the program to provide?
Training, I think they did ask a couple of questions, and I have ranked agriculture and water as our first and second priority, because we are carrying huge population. We are the world's 6th largest country in terms of population, and soon we are going to be the 4th largest country. So these impacts, climate change impacts, poses a serious challenge for us to manage our economy, and mainly these two sectors, agriculture and water. So I believe that I will like the training to focus in these areas more.
Country representative from the Philippines. How useful was the content to you and your work in your country?
Well, it's a very useful one. In the Philippines, we just had the President already approved the National Climate Change Action Plan. So in terms of prioritizing our adaptation options, cost-benefit analysis and economic evaluation per se is very useful in terms of knowing which project is more cost-effective than the other. It's also good in terms of sensitizing our politicians, our decision makers, and influencing them in which direction they can put or allocate the money. So I think it's very useful.
And what kind of training would you like the program to provide?
Well, aside from knowing the tools, how to use the tools in terms of cost-benefit analysis, I think more in terms of evaluating or evaluation of impacts of climate change, and also evaluating adaptation options.